And we are live. I'm here with Josh. It's been a minute. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. What you got going on lately? We were just talking about all this different stuff about like grandparents and parents and the social economics of things and how things work. What have you been doing?
Yeah. I just been focusing on me lately, really, with all quarantine going on and all this. I've been really focusing on what I really want out of life.
Okay.
You know,
Which is what?
What for me, I think is just getting everything I want in life.
Right.
And I think that's what topic that a lot of people are scared to talk about.
Right.
But it's like, I want everything I want. Right. So it's like, that means relationships. I want the career, the social life, the friends, the cars, like everything. And I think, a reflection of what's happened with the economy and with what's going on, it just makes it obvious that we don't have our time's not on our side. Right. So it's like, we sometimes procrastinate. So this kind of pandemic has really just put a fire under my ass, and it's something I'm really motivated already. Right. So it's like on top of that, I just made it more clear. So I guess I just really been fine tuning and just staying locked in and focused on what is it I truly want, which is really scaling my business, creating the lifestyle I want, which I believe is the new rich, right? Is the lifestyle. So just been having fun, pivoting my business with all this pandemic and
what exactly have you had to pivot with the business? Because so you run a social media marketing agency, or would you like to phrase it differently?
Yeah, so that's exactly the pivot.
Okay.
So we were so I started it 5 years ago. It's called Grow Now Social Media Agency, and we just pivoted actually during this whole thing to Grow Now Digital.
Right. Okay. So I saw that. I was looking on the page and I saw the little changes there. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. So what exactly, as far as the business goes, did you change?
Yeah. So what we're doing. So social media is awesome. It's one avenue when it comes to your marketing. Mm-hmm. However, there's bigger problems when it comes to businesses scaling. Right. So a lot of the issues that we have, you can have great social media presence, but if you can't convert into dollars, then there's no point of
having that presence in the first place.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of maybe not businesses, but individuals who fall into that trap. I would feel like someone who's running a business or building a social media for a business would already have that understanding, but maybe I'm misconstrued in that.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing. And so for us, we really want to focus on, and the reason why I said digital is we like focus on digital products. Okay. Right? We believe the future is online coaching, online consultants. In our industry, that's how I've learned.
Right.
I didn't go to college. I taught karate for 6 years.
Right.
That was my background.
Right.
I had no marketing experience. I had business experience, but not marketing specifically on social media.
Right.
So in order for us to learn it, I had to do the Ty Lopez programs, the Jeremy Haynes, the Billy Jeans, and learn from the best people who are doing it. So because of that, we already know it's the future because we started a business that way. So our goal is with the digital side is really help entrepreneurs and people have courses and people have real value they can provide to make this world a better place, and give them the right avenues, not only to build a presence on social media, but to actually grow their business now. Right.
Grow now. I love it. Do you have any like recent success stories or anything that you want to like share, or anything that's prominent, like pops up in your head?
Yeah. So like we have one client, they're awesome in what they do. They do modes they do modes for dispensaries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like they create the molds so dispensaries buy them because they have to make them in-house.
Okay.
So for them specifically, we got a chance to increase the leads like crazy. I think since the past since the beginning of March, April, we got like 95 leads, custom order leads, and then each one can be like a potential anywhere between a few hundred to a few thousand to 20,000+.
Right.
So that's just one quick story we have now, and then there's multiple stories when it comes to growth and overall in their business.
Right.
By numbers, and really be focused on a few numbers.
Right.
ROI is the biggest number that no one focuses on.
Right.
Marketing agencies do not like talking about it, which goes to show that they can't produce results.
That, or they know that they're drastically overcharging for what they're doing, specifically because they're trying to make their business look better. So there's a lot of games that get played in this. Like I feel like our generation is we're the front runners with all of this. Mm-hmm. We're the first people to kind of encounter this business world. Yep. The world of business has changed a lot in the last 20 years, and we're the first to really like take it as it is and run with it. Yeah. I feel like there are a lot of people that are just running scam artist situations and things like that to make themselves look better, and it's kind of a bummer. But That's why I appreciate when I see, people like you can tell you're actually putting effort into the business. You're growing with your learnings. You're actually learning about the business and how to help yourself, how to help other businesses. So when you can tell there's someone who's actually putting an effort in, it means a lot, which is why I enjoy having you over.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course.
Transparency is huge. A lot of I said the more and more that people are they're realizing that a lot of people aren't who they think they are on social media. I met a lot of influencers. They're not influencing nobody.
Right.
They can't even influence themselves.
Right.
I'm like, you need to. I want to help coach you.
Right.
Because you don't even have the mindset. You just, although you have leverage on social media, and you have some followers, which was caused by fake followers that you leveraged, and there's a lot of that going on in the industry, right? So it's like, I'm like, you're not even motivated in real life. Like, why would I want to follow your motivation on social media?
And meanwhile, there's a ton of people that you feel like should have that kind of attention that don't. And it can be discouraging sometimes, honestly.
And that's why I want to help out. So, like, my speaking coach, I had a meeting with him today. I hired him 3 years ago as a speaking coach.
Right. And
he's outstanding. Like, he was the
You're going to have to get me connected, man.
Oh, I will. Yeah. He's the CEO of, I will get you connected. Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's the CEO of, he wrote the book called The Pivot. He was a CEO of the company called Peak Potentials at one time. Okay. Which is a $10 million a year organization that T. Harv Eker used to own. Okay. So this guy's badass. He does TED Talks. He gets people to get on TED Talks.
Right.
And like someone like him, I'm like, all right, you really got to take your digital presence seriously. Not because that you're really good at what you do, but you're authentic and real. And that's what's lacking.
And so you're helping him out now.
Yeah, well, not confirmed, not officially, but soon.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're someone's client or friends with, I assume you're friends with this guy at this point. You've been around him for so long. Mm-hmm. I feel like obviously you're sharing some information that you have with him and helping him grow at the same time, regardless of whether he's a client or not.
Sure, yeah. So, I already did.
Yeah, so having the relationships and everything. We first met at a Build Your Empire event a little over a year ago. Mm-hmm. What was your relation to all of that?
Casey
right.
Adams. I met Casey Adams when I first started my agency in 2017. Okay. He held the mastermind in California in the mansion. Okay. At a mansion party, he had like Jeremy Haynes there, who I bought his program. Right. So I was like an early adopter of like the Ty Lopez course and now hiring these coaches that had courses at the time, which was only a few. Now everyone has courses. Right. So I became good friends with Casey, and once I found out he was moving to Scottsdale, I was like, oh, this is badass. So it was pretty cool. And then I had relationships with him, so he was like, come to the Build Your Empire party and event. It was awesome. I got connected with a lot of people.
It seemed like everyone all at once picked up and moved to Arizona. In that 6 month span, it seemed like everybody in the social media space, in the like entrepreneur space, seemed like everyone just up and moved to Arizona at that point in time, which was crazy.
Oh yeah, it was nuts. Like even my buddy Ken, Ken.
Ken.
Big
Ken. Right.
Who doesn't?
Big Ken.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's from the city next to me.
No shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Methuen. So he grew up in Boston, like right near I was. So we actually met years ago, and Ken was young. He was doing network marketing. I was doing network marketing in a different company. Right. We were just meeting, and we collaborated. We realized we didn't want to go in each other's network marketing, but we were just cool. We respect each other's grind. Right. So we became good friends, and then, when I realized had the opportunity to move out here, he's already here. I was like, oh shoot! And I saw him all the time, and we're good friends. So I see him all the time, but it's just weird. It's bizarre. Everyone randomly, for some reason, just pick that time frame.
Dude, like I grew up out here, so I'm born and raised in Arizona, and for the last 5-6 years, right, I've been telling people, I'm like, Phoenix, Scottsdale is the next to pop off. I was like, LA's too expensive. No one wants to live in Vegas. And the next thing furthest west that's a viable option for like a city to build a life in is Phoenix. It's Scottsdale. There really aren't any other cities in this area, as far as the West Coast goes, that are worth it. You can actually build a life out here. It's not stupid expensive, and you're not dealing with all the craziness of living in the Vegas area. So it doesn't surprise me that all of those people have moved here. It just surprises me that it was all in that same time span. That same blip of time was just crazy.
Yeah. It was crazy. Yeah, it was a crazy time. But I think that's what people realized, especially online marketing world. Although there's a lot of people, it's really close-knit. Right. And we put in retrospect. So I think as people started seeing like, oh, hey, wait, if I'm going to travel anyways, because a lot of digital entrepreneurs pride themselves in being
able to travel.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's like, why not live in a place where you can travel way more instead of
Right.
just being stuck and living in a nice mansion penthouse in Cali or Vegas
Right.
when you're stuck there, you know?
How does that relationship between, like, you, for example, and a competitor, someone you would see as a competitor, obviously, as far as business goes, do you feel like you have competition when it comes to being in your business space?
Yeah, I have no competition. Competition is just me. That's it.
Okay.
I focus zero on competition.
Okay.
I read a story, and then since the story, this was years ago. I heard the
Tell
story.
it to me. Let's
and
go.
The story was the difference between greatness and being a follower. And it says in the Apple meetings they would just focus on how can they produce the best product for their clients.
Right.
And then Microsoft's meeting would talk about how can they beat Apple.
Right.
That's it. I didn't have.
After that, you don't have to worry about it.
I don't have to listen to anyone else. I hear a rich person that has everything I want tell me a story. I'm super humble in the sense of, and I think martial arts taught me that, right?
Right.
You know, is the humility part is just the quicker you can absorb information from people, the quicker you could just take it on and not have ego involved, which a lot of people in this industry have ego involved. So like, I got zero competition. It's just me.
I'm going to want to double back to the martial arts thing because I have my black belt in Okinawa and Kenpo and spent years studying martial arts. I wrestled, I did all that stuff, and I feel like it was a huge part of shaping me to be who I am today. Regardless of the fact that I didn't follow through with it after I got my black belt, I kind of dwindled. It had a huge impact on helping me be the person I am. But so when it comes to what your goal is as far as a business, right? Like, what is the height? What is that pinnacle that you're trying to reach? Do you want to be servicing like large corporate companies? Do you want to stay servicing people who are working to be coaches and things like that? Like, what do you have your sights set on right now?
Yeah, so for us, it's digital products, man. The coaches and the consultants and service-based companies,
Right.
We love just because when done correctly, there's huge margins on scaling, right?
Right.
If you have a course, you can scale. It's just now how many people can you get in front of this course? And a lot of good coaches have high-end packages. Like I spent a good amount of money on my speaking coach, right? So he has a high-end package, but it changed my life, right? So it's like I got so much value from it. So for us, we love. I'm going to change the world, right? So it's like if I can help people help me change the world, and with my skills of marketing, then that's my goal. That's like my pinnacle goal. So of course, revenue. Who doesn't want revenue, right?
Of course.
So it's like we can talk that, but revenue doesn't drive me or motivate me or my team.
Revenue is just a staple of growth to show you that you're building.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it's the impact. So if it's like, all right, I want to change the world. How else can I help people change the world? You know, like I have a spiritual coach that I work with that we do like a lot of Reiki, meditation, a lot of like healing work, and we're helping out from marketing presence because like, wow, you helped change my life. We need to get this out there, right? So it's like those are the type of companies and businesses that we like working with, big or small, right? So it's like that's I guess for us as a company, we really pride ourselves, and our model is we grow. We're growing by growing others.
Have you ever told anyone that you don't want to work with them? Because like you have, okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Just for the vetting purposes of being like, 100%. I don't feel like you're legit.
No. If they're a headache.
Aha.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. See, I would have thought that it would have been more on the side of like, I feel like what you have going on right now is faked. Like you're putting up a front and you want us to help you build a bigger front.
Yeah, no, we don't deal with that. They don't even get into our pipeline.
Really?
We don't even track those.
Really?
Yeah, we're very clear on who we attract. I'm a big
deliberate.
I'm a big believer. The intentions you put out is you get back. So,
right.
You know, ask you shall receive.
Right.
Was in a really good book, right? The Bible, and then but it talked about it's just a good concept, but I think it meant ask specifically, right? So I think the more specific you are on who you want to work with,
right.
The quicker you start attracting that type of clients.
Right.
So for me, I've had clients that were like my biggest client I had to say no to, and we separated ways. And it was kind of like a lesson as a business owner is realizing the quicker you let go, the quicker something else comes better and replace it. You just have to have faith and believe in it. And it was way of a headache. And once we got rid of that client, it was like
a weight lifted off your shoulder. You got so much other time to focus on stuff now.
Yeah. So yeah, we'd vet. If I don't like you, I don't want to work with you.
Right. Fair enough.
I don't care about money.
So with that being said, have you ever come across someone that felt like they were too young or too inexperienced or too this or too that to be a coach or to have a program or to have this or that? Like what point does someone have to come to tell themselves or to be confident in the fact that they can be a coach, they can have a course, they can do this, that, or the other, obviously that you're going to help them do. But have you ever had people come to you and say like, I don't feel like I have enough credentials. I don't feel like I have enough this. And how do you deal with that?
Yeah, great question. So we don't reach people that are at that level.
Right.
Because they're still at that pivotal point.
Then how would you advise someone who is at that pivotal point to get past it?
Great question. So I'm actually launching something soon called a dojo, and it's going to be all for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to have the mindset to kick ass in life.
Okay.
Because I think for them, all they need right now is mentality, right? So for me to run a marketing agency is not the difficult part. Believing I can run a marketing agency is the
hard part.
And that's what Les Brown said. Les Brown just told me one time. He said, making $1 million a year was the easiest thing I've done in my whole life.
Right.
Believing I could make $1 million a year was the hardest thing.
Right.
So I think because of martial arts, and I taught martial arts for 6 years. Mm-hmm. So now that I didn't even take it, I was engulfed into the culture where I had 100 students where I was working with daily.
Enough to have some left over and hand it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
For
So
real.
I had to be that example. I had to show up for my students, my kids, and I had 3
Right.
6-year-olds and I had adults, and it just forced me to have a mindset consistently, and it over time, as habits start, it just became unconscious.
Right.
So I think that's why I'm starting this private group for so I can hit people that are not at that level yet. So it's like, oh, you want to work with us, but it's like, or even if you don't want to work with us, if you're just trying to pivot and trying to be a coach and you have a really good skill at something, then let's get the mindset as a business owner to really get yourself as a business owner ready in order for you to attract the right team members and have people in your team. But the first thing is you have to be skilled at something.
Right.
I have all these coaches and courses, and people, they learn a course and they teach the course. They just learn.
Bro, I swear sometimes I'm watching YouTube videos and I'm like, you just watched their video and then reworded it. Huh? Mm-hmm. A lot of the time it feels like people are like Googling an article to read so that they can read the article and then regurgitate that information on a video to make it seem like they know what they're doing or talking about, which is really bizarre to me. How would you say someone can prove that they have expertise at something?
It's by results. I mean, that's the quickest way of doing it. And even if you don't have results, be transparent about it. Like I started a marketing agency and everyone was selling packages at $1,000 a month. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I want to sell bigger packages.
Right.
So I was like, all right. And I went up to a client and I was like, I'm really good at marketing. This is the things I'm learning. There's really cool techniques you could do. I want to just educate you on what you're capable of doing. And this was back in end of 2016. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, this is what you can do. This is what you can do. And that's how I got one of my first clients. I was like, hey, there was a 7-gym franchise. It was like $3,500 a month. And I was like, wow, like.
That was enough to change your life, honestly.
Yeah, it really did. It really
that's
helped.
More than enough to change your life, honestly. And give you a new perspective, at least, on how to go about operating on a day-to-day basis, like what you should be looking for, what your site should be set on, what, the yellow Mustang thing. Yeah. If you're thinking about a yellow Mustang, you're going to see a yellow Mustang. If you're not thinking about it, you won't recognize it. So I feel like that moment kind of gave you your yellow Mustang moment where you're looking for that opportunity over and over and over and then building upon it as you go too.
Yeah.
So
and we did a lot for them too. So he leveraged that fact too. That was new. So he was like, oh, I know you're
get
new.
Extra work out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unproven, I guess. So I might as well get the work out and give you an opportunity to learn. And I feel like a lot of people aren't willing to do that either though. You know what I mean? Do more work than they're getting paid for.
Yeah.
It's just not a concept that people are attuned to nowadays.
Yeah. They just, people are just, I think it's all mindset. That's what people are. They don't have that mindset and realize that's what successful people do. Like,
right.
It's not that difficult. I just read a lot of sick books and seminars about successful people.
Right.
And if you're just no ego involved and you just listen to what they're saying, you realize that's it. Jim Rohn's been saying that for 30 years,
right.
1980s. I was watching a video yesterday. He says, if you do more than what you get paid for, you eventually get paid, So it's like...
Dude, I put it on my Instagram story the other day.
You did? Yeah.
There are multiple times in the last 3 to 5 years that I've worked for companies for 100% free. Mm-hmm. Like done work 100% free. But the connections that I've gained out of it, the experience I've had that came from it, all the opportunities that came from it years later, not even like months later, years after the fact, paid off tenfold. And I'm still in that position where I feel like I'm doing work, right, at a rate of pay that I maybe should be asking for more.
Sure.
But at the same time, I still feel like I'm in a process of learning. So like my learning is the money that I'm giving up in that opportunity. So I definitely think that's a space that people need to give more thought to.
Yeah.
But then again, I have a lot of conflicting thoughts.
Okay. Yeah.
So a lot of the time I'll sit here and I'll say something like that, and then I'll say, okay, well, there might be the person who's in a position where they have a kid and they're 23, 24 years old and they don't have family to support them or anything, and they got rent to pay. They got to pay for diapers and food and take care of their family and their new child and all those things, and they can't do that. You know what I mean? They can't do more work than what they're paid for because they need the money.
Yeah.
What do you say to someone like that? What do you say to someone who's in a crunch time position?
It's time to move. I mean, that's why I really think it is. I think it's dependent on the person's scenario.
Right.
Like, I think too many times we look at certain scenarios and then we compare each other, but it's like our stories are so different.
Right.
It's like what I like to do is I have a book I'm writing this year that should be published it's about mentors, because that's what really changed my life. And one of the biggest things I realized is find a mentor who's going through what you're going through and that overcame it. So it's like, I wouldn't be giving the same advice to a person who has a family and kids right now compared to the person who's no wife, no girlfriend, single, bachelor.
Less obligations.
Yeah,
right.
It's obviously different, right? So it's like there's no one size fit all. But what I believe in mentors is if you could mimic the person who's been through what you've been through and find and hear their story and then get inspiration on what they did, that's the best advice I give them. And then, like you said, how you play devil's advocate. Why can't we tap into that mentality now? Right? Do I have to wait till I have kids and a family in order to move forward?
Right.
And that's what I'm constantly working on, is challenge myself. Is like, am I really just comfortable, or am I just really scared of the next step? And then, really, the quarantine has really forced me to be like, you know what? I'm just gonna live the way I'm gonna live. If I had a family and kids, I'm going to block all my schedules. I'm going to get concrete on, you're not going to talk to me because I'm free and open because I'm available. I'm not that person. I'm not, who you see me now is not where I'm at currently. Right. I am at where my goal is, right? And then I'm the next David Meltzer, Tony Robbins.
I look Brian like Tracy. I'm somewhere, but mentally I'm elsewhere. I'm in another zone. I'm in another lifetime.
So act that way now, right? So I'm thinking like, oh, if I had a family, I got scheduled family time. Like, well, so what would that look like in my schedule? I gotta be really good on my schedule then. I want to be a multi-million-dollar business owner, entrepreneur.
What does his schedule look like?
And that's why I study.
Right.
I study people who have the things I have past the success. And I think people fail to do that. People are so attracted to the young entrepreneurs with the cars and stuff like that. And then,
because it's glamorous. It's the same thing we see with rap and media and music and all those different kinds of things too. No one cares about the fact that Tom Brady's rich. He's 40 however many years old and rich. They care about the 21, 22-year-old who just got put in the league and he's rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as the lifestyle goes, when they're looking at for a lifestyle. So, I mean, then what has been the hardest thing for you to overcome in the last couple of years? Whether, you can get as personal as you want or not.
I'm open. I'm an open book. Myself. I think the hardest person you have to overcome is yourself. And I did this exercise with my business coach, and it was part of the most intense exercise I've done in my life.
Right. And
he lives in Carlsbad. We were on the beach, part of the exercise, and this was after, to give some context, this was after a weekend of us diving deep, uncovering. There was only a handful of us, but we uncovered a lot of core issues of just what's really holding us back, which is the true issue to become a great speaker, to become great at anything. It's you,
right?
You versus you. So the hardest thing for the exercise we did was we were at the beach and we put ourselves in the state of mind where we just had 30 minutes left to live life. And then
interesting.
After 30 minutes, you are no longer here, right? So it was an exercise that we had to just think about. It was a 30-minute process of getting us into a state of this is it, guys. You have 30 minutes. You're gonna enjoy your life. And what we did was he made us just go around the beach, and you can't talk to nobody, you can't do anything, can't even say one word. And you're just gonna think about what would you think about if you had 30 minutes to live.
Damn. What came to mind?
I was just mad happy, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I was just happy because for me where I was, I don't feel like I gave myself enough credit, where we think credit is success and
how you define
money,
it could change that
cars.
so much. Yeah.
And like for me, I just like had a feeling of like, damn, yo, like, you know what? Like I taught karate for 6 years, and I started impact a lot of people. I was just doing network marketing, so I had like a team there. So I was like, man, like I was just, my goal, like I'm glad I left it off on a better note than I started my life, right? So it's like, for me, I was like, damn, I didn't realize how like little things like, damn, like family is such an impact, you know? So it's like family, friends, like they're gonna know me as the person who's like did whatever it takes and was happy no matter going through what scenario. And to give you context, man, I came to a seminar, barely any money, broke, credit card debt. I was just starting on my agency. I slept outside in a car the first night in this trip. I came to San Diego, and I posted on the video. Like, I still have stories on my Snapchat of me pulling up. I was like, yo, in and out. And I was gonna go to the gym, take a shower in the gym. But then they didn't let me in 24 hours. You can't be, I guess, in San Diego, you have to be a resident in order to do a guest pass. Okay. So I slept in the car. The first night,
you could drive to the beach to wash yourself off.
Yeah, no, not even. I wish I did, right? But I went to In-N-Out instead. So the gym wasn't closed. I was supposed to work out, sleep there. Take a shower there at least, and then sleep in my car. And then it didn't work out, so I went to In-N-Out instead, which was fun. And then, because I'm East Coast, so I was coming from Boston.
In-N-Out's new to you?
Yeah, it was new to me. So I was like, heck yeah, I gotta go pull up to.
How was it?
Gym. It was amazing. I was like, forget the gym. This was what I really needed
top
emotionally.
5. Right.
So, yeah, so like I guess exercises like that gets you to realize like, facing yourself is the hardest thing. I always say, you know, you can be tough. And for me, I'm a fighter, right? So, like, don't come tough guy with me. We can spar, right? It's like...
Man, and at the end of the day, you know what's weird about that? All of the people that I've ever met that were fighters or in martial arts or any of those things, even throughout my wrestling years and all that stuff, you realize a lot of those people, despite the front that they have and despite the abilities that they have physically, some of the softest, most kind people you can meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, hands down, every single time.
My instructor, Faye Sensei, shout out to Faye Sensei. But yeah, he's the sweetest. Like, he avoided barely any fight. Like, he's not a fighter, but you turn him on, he turns on.
Right. That reminds me of Nipsey. There was a video of Snoop Dogg talking about Nipsey Hussle and how he embodies the essence of Tupac, like what Tupac spoke about, the seed that Tupac planted is what Nipsey became, right? So I guess there's a quote of Tupac saying, I might not be the one to change the world, but I'll be one to plant the seed. Right, exactly. And Snoop was talking about how Nipsey was the growth of that seed that Tupac planted. And somewhere along that portion of the video, he says, like, he was the nicest guy ever. He'd be out, you know, hanging out with kids and this, that, and the other, and you come try him and you'll learn you shouldn't be trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
And those are obviously like some of the most dangerous people you can meet, because in the flip of a switch.
Yeah.
In the flip of a switch.
Mm-hmm. So. And that's what the control is. So, you know, back to long story short is facing yourself is the hardest thing. And when I mean facing yourself, I mean like facing yourself. Like, there's a lot of shit that we go through as kids, and when we're kids, like, majority of our subconscious is developed since we're 0 to 7 years old. And this was just the hundreds of books I read just from working with kids. I want to become great at working with kids. So I read a lot of
you got to
parenting
understand
books.
Kids. Yeah.
And I realized everything that's all our beliefs and our limited beliefs have been developed since we're kids. So majority of our lifetime is reliving the first 7 years until we die. And that's scary, right? So
those traumatic experiences and finding out how to cope with them properly. That's interesting. Okay.
So I think finding and going through and figure out what's truly like it's so deep ingrained that's so hard for us to do it. That's why you can't see the picture in the frame. That's why I'm a big believer in mentors and coaches.
Right.
Like, I got mentors and coaches around me in every area of my life. Like, I'm very specific on who I'm around, the people I'm around, the people purposefully I am. And I tell people, like, when I first want to get in shape, all my friends were ripped. It makes sense.
Right.
Guess who's going to get in shape?
Right.
Guess who lost 40 pounds in a few months? You know, It's like, it's really super simple once we just get down to the bottom fact of being clear on what you want, and then being clear that whoever you surround yourself with, you'll become. So it's like, once I realized, all right, I got to face myself. All right, this is what I got to do. I got to just be around these type of people. How do I get in front of these type of people? And I didn't have anyone, so I used YouTube videos. You know, I used to say, oh, Jim Rohn's my mentor. He's not even alive.
Right.
You know,
a lot of the time it's too is like nowadays you see people like, I don't know how to, like, if I stop hanging out with my friends and I have no one to hang out with, I have no one to learn from, where do I even find a mentor? I feel like media is huge. Like changing who you follow on social media in its own can make a huge impact on you, especially if you don't have a means for finding mentors right now, which I feel like is a huge problem for people.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the fact that there's a lot of fake people out here too, right, who build this or that and try to show themselves as one thing but really are another. It really can be hard to find mentors nowadays.
Yeah.
But the way you're describing mentors, right, you're almost describing mentors just as friends who have things that you want.
Yeah, because that's how simple it is, right? I think we overcomplicate mentors, and then be very clear. And this is what I write about in my book, is that mentors, although someone's really good at one area of life, doesn't mean you want to copy everything
they do. Yeah.
I have one friend who's really like smart business guy, like really good business person, like, and I learned a lot of sales and just overall how to demeanor around this guy. The way he treats women, not my type of cup of tea. You know, my sister is 1 year older than me. She's like my best friend. I do everything for my mom. I'm just like, right. I'll never treat
a woman.
I believe the female species is a higher up species. To be honest, as a male, I
agree with you wholeheartedly.
I love to argue with anyone in that case, but the fact that because of that, I really admire him as a business person, but not this area.
Right.
And people tend to forget that, where it's like, yeah, he's good at business, but look at his whole life.
And this is why I don't believe in the idea of role models or idols. I can't believe in idolizing one person, because no one's perfect in every aspect of their life. It's just not. It's not realistic. It's not. You can't put enough energy and focus into every aspect of your life to be perfect at everything.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's the problem. They idolize them, and then they do everything they do.
Right.
You know, and it's like that happened in the martial arts industry. We had a powerful guy who was a martial arts instructor, badass business person, entrepreneur, hundreds of students. This guy was top of the world. Like, we would model him because like this guy has 12 schools. Me and Sensei were like, we want to be like this guy because we were franchising our karate schools. So
right.
Like, all right, this is how we're going to do it. This is his structure. Like, we would follow his curriculum. Find out 5 years later, you know, he had some affairs with kids under his age and stuff like that. And it's like, it defeated the whole purpose. Like, we legit, our mission is to avoid that.
Right.
And then we look up to this guy who we think that's what he's doing. He was at some level, but then has some personal issues he's never dealt with. And I feel like those are lessons as you get older. You realize that no one's perfect. Let's figure out the best. Take the best out of people
each person,
you can.
right?
That's being resourceful. And
so when it comes to someone, sorry to cut you off when it comes to someone who doesn't have the resources to like do that kind of digging, because a lot of the time you look for a life coach, you look for someone to guide you through that process of dealing with your past traumas. Yeah. To someone who doesn't have resources to do that, what is an activity, or where would you tell them to start? How can you start looking into that kind of thing and revealing yourself?
Yeah, I like that, because my favorite quote is like one of my favorite quotes from Tony Robbins. He says, "We don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness." Okay. So the thing is, whenever you want to make a change in life or a pivot, there has to be refocused. So it's like people have to really understand how you get results. Your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions are your results, and your results is your destiny. So if we just understand that simple concept, then we understand, all right, here's the result I want. Right. So what type of actions does that person take? How do they feel? And what do they think about? And you backtrack it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if I was going to create a recipe, I have to understand not only the ingredients, but I have to understand the syntax, the correct order they put the things. If I put the egg after I put it in the oven,
they don't react the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I think the first step is getting clear on what you want. Mm-hmm. And then the second step is utilizing resources like YouTube and Google and books to find out, because the ones who are writing books aren't fake. Right. And you separate the fake and the real right away. If they're not writing a book about it and they're not top seller in the industry, they're probably not there's a reason why they're the top in the industry. They invested time and effort and thousands of dollars in order to put the message out. And belief in that message enough to spend that money and put that investment into it, for sure. So I used to go book shopping the past 9 years. This is my book shopping technique. I go to Barnes & Noble, Barnes & Noble, and I would close my eyes. and think about what area of my life do I need to improve in right now.
I love that.
And I'll legit just buy a book in the area. It's so simple. It's like elementary, right? 1 + 1 = 2.
What do I want?
So what's that 2? So if I want 2, I gotta realize, I gotta do 1 and 1. So how do I get there? And so many times I see all the time where people go, I'm just not happy.
Right.
I was like, all right, well, how many happy books about happiness have you read?
Right.
All right, so not that. Let's
what understanding of what happiness is do you have to say that you're not happy in the first place? Right.
Zero backup. So that's the first thing I do. They go, well, I lack in discipline. Well,
read a book on discipline.
Legit, what I did, I was like, all right, I lack discipline right now. I need to get a little more focused, and I read a book of Brian Tracy. Discipline skyrocketed, right? So I think being honest with yourself is how you get there.
Right.
We justify. No, I'm not supposed to be here because my family grew up immigrants. I'm the first one. My dad grew up poor, so this, or my mom this, or I'm not good enough because someone when I was 7 years old told me I was not good enough, and I still repeat that in my head subconsciously. So I think that's why I say facing yourself, because the more you can know yourself, the more we are super guided when we're listening. And I think we have a lot of things. We are in such repeat mode, right?
Right.
So it's like, well, we have tapes going this fast all the time, and it's producing the result that we realize we don't want that result, but we don't take time to stop, slow down, and look in the person in the mirror.
And it only picks up momentum as you get older too. That's why the whole phrase "you can't teach an old dog new tricks" is out there, because I believe in momentum a lot, right? Yeah. Picking up good momentum can be just as incredible for your life as picking up bad momentum can be bad for your life, and a lot of times worse than having good momentum can be good. But ultimately, again, it is that whole first step of getting in front of it and finding a way to like slow the train down just enough to get a clear view of what's going on around you, and then make your decision from there.
And that's all I've done the past few years. That's really skyrocketed me. That got me to move West Coast and got me to really attract things at a quick, like the power of manifestation is super powerful if you understand that equation, right? So it's like, it's just because that's really what it is. I think we really have to slow down in order for us to speed up.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. I want to double back and talk about why you feel like women are.
Oh yes, yeah. Nice.
I want to hear the reason.
That shows how powerful you are and how you believe in that too.
I want to hear the reasoning behind this.
Well, I just think, first of all, they're more in tune. First of all,
okay.
And what I mean by in tune, it's hard to lie to female because they feel more.
Okay.
Wirely, their brain's wired to feel more, and the reason why I know this is because I did research.
I feel like it has something to do with childbearing. The whole child being a mother that's why they're more in tune emotionally.
You have to be. You create a human being in the stomach, and they love it and forever will. So it's like, unless it's chemically imbalanced, like a baby will die without love. And I believe for me, when a woman, if you can love that deep, that just goes to show you how powerful they are. And I think we as males can love deeply too, but we just been guided we're in a different world from back then. There's no more survival. There's no more, I got to act a certain way, but we are conditioned this way. So that's why we come with ego and come with, I'm a protector.
Bravado and all of these things that come with it.
Because I have to provide,
right.
which is good. That you do have to provide. I'm not taking that away, but at the same time, there's a certain way you do it, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to be such a jerk or a dickhead because of it, right? So I think right now females are more in tune, so females can pick up more and when they can feel more, and then that's what life's about. Life's a feeling process, right? So like we only going to remember our experiences, then we're gone, so it's like, I just personally, for me, I just think we would not have no life for either of us, but realistically the moms are the ones who hold it down because they go through 9 months that we as guys can never ever talk about.
Would never experience. There's no chance. Zero.
We don't even know the feeling of it.
Right. So
for me personally, I think they're just super powerful when it comes to that side. And I think spiritually they just are more in tune. And I'm not speaking for everyone, but a majority of it right now, just in overall consciousness and awareness, females are ahead of the game than males. So guys, you gotta pick it up a notch.
Yeah, for real. Hey, listen to some of the tips my guy Josh has got here for you, okay? And act on it.
Girls don't want dick pics. Girls want you to be open and just speak how you feel. It's not that difficult.
I honestly couldn't have said it better. And seriously, it's bizarre to see how many guys, even in relationships, who hit that 2-year point and they start having relationship problems, and they're like, she's telling me that I'm not open enough with her, or I don't talk to her enough. And he's like, I talk to her all the time. Yeah. But are you really?
And she could feel that.
Right. The ingenuine, right. Yeah. Yeah. I go off and look in the corner because I'm thinking about it and like, what experiences have I had with this kind of thing in my past? You know what I mean? So it's
and this goes again to the fact that I only know this because I dove into relationships because I want a passionate relationship. I want everything to be passionate. Right. I used to have parents at the karate school tell me, don't worry, Josh, watch me get married and get older. Because I was a young instructor. I started teaching at 19. And I was instructing adults and their kids. They're paying us. We were high end. Like they're paying a good amount of money for the kids to learn training. Right. And it was super beneficial for them. But I would always get pissed off. I'm like, wait, no, that's not how marriage is supposed to be. Like, don't worry, you wouldn't get married. You'll see how it's like. It's like, wait, no, that's not how marriage is. I don't believe that's how marriage is supposed to be like. Just like I don't believe that we can be happy every day. Like, we can legit be happy every day. There's just a certain syntax that you have to do every day in order to do that. But you can achieve it. Just like people are depressed every day. Like, who's in charge of your depression every day? You in the mirror. You did a certain routine, what you think about, what you focus on, how you move your body and your past experiences.
Certain trigger that you didn't deal with the right way. I mean, I can say that from personal experience too. Like, I used to deal with depression and anxiety problems on a daily basis, and it was at a point where one thing could trigger me, and that'll drag on for 2-3 weeks at a time,
or even years.
Right. And I won't say that I've completely overcome it and I never feel that way ever, because I do. The same things from time to time will trigger me. But what used to take 2-3 weeks for me to get over now takes me 2 hours or a day to get over. You know what I mean? And by the time I've, kind of what I like to call is come over myself. Once I've figured myself out again, it's you're back to normal. You feel like you can make that progress again, and it's not 3 weeks worth of time that you gave up. It was 2 hours or a day's worth of time. So I like to make the point that progress doesn't necessarily have to look like you completely eradicated the problem, because a lot of the time when we have personal problems, when we have emotional problems, those aren't things that you can completely eradicate. There are things that are like built in within you. But like you're saying, if you were to bring that to the forefront and learn how to deal with it and learn how to negotiate with it and learn how to cope with it the right way in a productive manner, it's something that not only can help you succeed, but it'll help you succeed beyond your wildest beliefs. But again,
to give you context too, like, I worked on this a lot, right? So it's like, that's another thing too, that give yourself patience,
right?
It's
like, it takes time.
I did this because, and I'm really good at getting into like high energy and always positive, happy. Like, you live with me, you can tell really quickly, like, this is how I get into.
Bro, most people burn by wood. You burn by like propane.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and people always, that's the biggest thing I get. Like, how can I bottle your energy? And I was like, well, I want to monetize my energy, right? But it's because I worked on it for years, because I forced myself to be in an environment where I was in charge in the dojo, right? So I would have days where I'd be like, it took years. I did 6 years every day, 6 days a week at this dojo, where I was the positive outlet, right? So like, for me, it's easy to be positive and happy because I was forced to be that person, and then it becomes habit. Because there were some days when I was going through it, and like, I had no gas in my car, I was broke. But I loved teaching, and I was like crying right before classes. And like 30 minutes before, I was like, all right, I got to open the door and get ready. And I was like, damn. And I got to do whatever it takes, because it's not about me.
It's about those kids, their experience, what you're giving them.
And that's if you live life that way, that's how you always, the most serving people, the happiest people are the ones that's bigger than them. And for me, it's not even about me. Like, I'm happy not because what I want to go through. I'm happy because I want to change the world and show everyone that they could be happy. And I had a really big, successful business person that I'm going to prove wrong back in 2017. No names, but he had a course, and I was in New York, and he was like, what are you passionate about? Like, we were like scribbling, like, what is your message as a coach or a business that you want to get out there? And I was like, I want to teach people how to become happy.
Right.
Because clearly it's not happening.
Right. Clearly there's as a business, you're supposed to fill a need, right? There's definitely a need.
And then he told me,
That's not a business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So and
I could see that.
And once I heard that, I was like,
this is why I have to. Yep.
And this is what I'm dealing with. So I was like, all right, bet. I'll build a badass marketing agency. Then everyone after that, make everyone happy. Let's see how that works. But the fact of that just fueled me. And that's just the problem of society, where it's like, wait a minute, we just ignore, you're a successful business coach. You told us what we're passionate about and what's our mission to drive people. It's like, I'm over here thinking about Gandhi. You're over here thinking about becoming someone of just wealth.
Right.
The wealth is cool. Don't get me wrong. I want a lot of money. I'm going to make a lot of money. And, we don't do bad as an agency, but the most important thing is that I want everyone to know that they can be happy if they practice it. Because I went through it. Right. I was never like this.
Right. Right. I mean, I liken that a lot to what I'm doing with Ziza, because like Ziza on the front of it is a clothing company, right? Sure, yeah. But in my perspective, the best way for me to get in touch with a younger group of kids, like I really want to have an impact on people that are like 14 to 25. I feel like that's a sweet spot. Yeah. You have a lot of free time. You have a lack of obligations. Like you could spend your time doing absolutely whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. Right. And Ziza is an opportunity for me to do something that looks cool on the physical side. On the front side, it looks cool. It'll draw people in. But what is that message behind it is what makes a difference. And there's so many like pop culture clothing companies and streetwear companies and this, that, and the other that have dope designs. They're crazy cool. Yeah. But there is no meaning behind it. There's no purpose behind it. The purpose is the profit. The purpose is the trend. Yep. Which is like such a lack or a misuse of that kind of attention, in my opinion. Lastly, how do you feel about routine? Because this is a personal question.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I have an issue with routine. Mm-hmm. I'll get into a routine and I'll stick with it for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, right? And then I'll hit a place where I'm like, I don't know. I don't like living with routine. I like having spontaneity be a part of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. How does someone deal with that? And how advice straight to me? Yeah. What would you tell me?
So that's really good, because actually I went through this myself too.
Okay, cool.
So I went through because for me, teaching karate for so long, I was used to one schedule. Right. So for me, it was a night schedule. Like I would wake up a little bit later, do a staff morning meeting, morning classes, then we'll have a break, and then class at nighttime. So I wouldn't even get to lifting or my routine till at nighttime. I used to do like my cleaning. I was renting a house at that time back in Boston, and I would do all that after work, right? So then it became such a habit, but I knew once I started my own business, I need to have a routine. And I went back and forth with so many routines. But for me, my advice is find the few things that get you going as a routine, and make it as simple and non-negotiable as possible.
Okay, for example,
for me, my morning routine is so simple. I wake up, I write 2 things I'm grateful for. I write a few I ams, and I write my top 10 goals for the year. After I do that, I read for 20 minutes, and then I do some type of exercise, yoga, stretch, or walk outside for 10 minutes. So on average, it takes me about 30 to 40 minutes. And some days I procrastinate, because some days I'll read a little bit and look at my phone and get distracted. But as long as I handle that in the morning time, is huge. So then what I do is I block out my schedules. So in the morning, that's the first thing I do. So no matter what, I have to do that before I go to my next step. So I'll even push back meetings for business if I didn't get this done. Right. So I think the best thing is finding 1 or 3 things, or start with one thing first. Like for me, my one thing was making my bed. Right. I would wake up, turn around, make my bed. I won. I won the day. I just made my bed. I never did it.
W.
Yeah, that's it. I took my first dub. All right, cool. So I think being light on yourself and finding what works for you, because I don't think it's the same for everyone. I think it's just a mentality thing of like, what's that one thing I could do? And David Meltzer says this really well. He goes, if you want to see how much you're in your own way, try to do one thing for 30 days.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna have to take that advice, because I always feel scatterbrained and stuff. Like, there's so many projects going on. I'm helping a buddy with a real estate project that he has going on and stuff like that. So consistently feeling scatterbrained on a day-to-day basis does not help anybody.
Sure. Yeah. So that's why I say, take that first hour for you. Like I can serve so many people, and that's why I have unlimited energy, because that one little hour, even if it's 20 minutes, sometimes I put 5 minutes on my clock. Right. And I read 5 minutes, and then right when it's done, I end it, because I at least got it done. Right. But what that does, it allows me to fill up my cup. And once my cup is full and overflowing, taking care of others is easy once your cup is full.
Right. Fair enough. Josh, is there anything else you want to share with us? Any new projects you got going on? Anything you want to plug? Anything you... Floor is yours, bro.
Yeah,
Go
okay,
for
sweet.
it.
Appreciate it. No, I mean, one thing, obviously, follow me on my personal Instagram,
Okay.
which is social media is Black Belt.
Okay.
And then, of course, my agency, we now pivoted, so we're Grow Now Digital
Okay.
on IG and Facebook. And that's pretty much it. I am going to be offering the dojo pretty soon, which is going to be a private coaching group. We're going to be for mindset as a business owner, entrepreneur, and how to really drive it. And it's going to be a community of people, right? So I believe that I don't have all the answers, but I believe that if we could bring everyone together, then we can find all the answers. I do have some dope black belt mindset principles, like, doing martial arts. You learn, it really changed my life. Like where I was before martial arts, just on the confidence level and the discipline level was nowhere near what I was. So after I went
Life-changing stuff, man. I swear.
Life changes. So that's pretty much it. Plug me in, follow me there, and then the rest will happen. And you'll get a chance to know me.
Heck yeah. All right, guys, that was Josh. I appreciate you guys coming to check out another episode. We're definitely going to have another one coming out in another 2 weeks. Going to make this bi-weekly. On the Ziza side of things, we've got a new project for video coming out where I'm going to be doing my own personal podcast, just me speaking, no guests, which will be bi-weekly as well. So you guys will have a video every single week coming from Ziza. And then we will also start doing our creative video projects. What's going on? You got to get the plugs, guys. You got to get the plugs. So yeah, again, we will start doing our creative video projects where we're going to do stuff, more out in the public and getting some clothing and stuff going as well. Thank you guys once again for checking out this episode, and we will see you guys next time.